All right, hello. So this is the update, the big mechanical update for Conflict of Dreams, clip trading card game. Will be ready, available on Kickstarter one day. Um, so I'm going to start with the simple stuff. Warm Ice, Flurry, and Glacial Conduction all fixed spelling mistakes and grammar. Don't worry about that. Isbjorn was given a buff and, well, a tweak really. His max HP was dropped, and his ability goes at the start of every turn, not just the start of his turn. And his immunity to ice was a bit strong, but we found that halving ice damage, rounding up, was decent. So we're still playtesting, but that's that. Now everything else in this edition is mechanical. So, um, because of the story and book 3, I've decided to change Natalie into Nathan. This is going to be important for the story, and so that's what I did. But because that makes the mechanical champions very male heavy, I've changed Earl Pennyholm and swapped it out with his daughter, Monica. Monica has her own ability, very brand new here. Each turn during your main phase, you may draw a card for every card you play after the first. Now that sounds extremely strong, but trust me, it is not. She's only got 14 HP, and to compensate for that, she has a lot of bonuses for bringing threat cards into play. Of course, threat cards force you to target them first. So she's very tanky in a way, despite having low HP. And she's got great draw, but she doesn't have a lot of access to resource tokens. So what we found playing her so far is that you do run out of resource tokens a lot, but you also have a lot of defensive things in play regardless. So it's a very different playstyle, and it has been a lot of fun. You can basically build a tank with her, which, if you can get the right upgrades together, becomes almost completely invincible and is hilarious to play. But yeah, it's loads of fun with this card so far. I'm really enjoying it. I'm very pleased that the first iteration has been so promising. So yeah. Other fixes, the Flame Spitter has been given a recycle ability because when it's been played on the first turn, it tends to just get destroyed because that's all your resource tokens. And then you're at square one, whereas your opponent is pulling ahead already. So really, if you have it in your first hand, you really do just want to recycle it. Thermal Regulator, same thing, really. Recycle it. Ability added. Latcher, recycle ability added. This is the one of the very few cards in the second edition that already has artwork, because it was going to be a first edition card, but because it has such a limited capability, I removed it. But giving it the recycle ability should make up for that. So if it isn't practical, at least you're getting something out of it. The Master Mark 1 and the Master Mark 2 have had their block abilities removed in exchange for a threat ability. So that's to be in line with Monica's theme. Now that's the adjustments. Cards removed, just going to run through these pretty quickly. Transistor is an upgrade, got rid of it because it's electric, which isn't really part of the theme of this. The Eye of Isbjorn edition will be ice themed primarily, with a secondary theme of water. This did work off of wet cards, water cards, tokens rather, but I've removed the water element from these decks in favor of fire for Nathan and ice and threat for Monica, because there was just too much of a mess by trying to work the water stuff into it. So I'm leaving water stuff to be much heavily on Cesare in the magical deck and Ondelg in the water deck. And that should round things out quite nicely. Finale, lots of things go boom. It's very redundant, and Explode does the job pretty well on its own. Lux Capacitor, basically a flashbang upgrade. It doesn't fit with the theme of the edition, so I decided to take it out. O's.
No O's. O's? I thought you meant O's. No O's. O's?
O's, getting rid of the O's, because again, removing the water element from the mechanical decks for this edition. Overwork is a cast card. 3 more actions per turn, takes damage for each one. When you consider how difficult it can be for certain mechanical decks to gain resource tokens, I mean, you can in a pinch, but it can cost you a lot. So investing so much resources into a single card is not a good way to go. So we're taking it out and looking at a different direction. Heatsink is just way too specific to a certain situation. Fire attack, just a fire attack. That's even giving it the recyclability just doesn't seem to justify the restrictive use of this card. Mistshaper, again, water-based. I've already covered why. Magnetic Coil. This is weird, but again, it's very specific to equipment and constructs. Oh no, sorry, it is just equipment. It targets, and that is just too restrictive. Magical Disruptor, restrictive again, this time against magic. So you can see how a lot of these things can be applied to certain things, but then become useless in other situations, which is why I'm removing them. Magic the Gathering does this all the time. I don't want to be Magic the Gathering. I want all the cards to be useful. So, moving on. Retardant Coating, against fire damage specifically, again, which is great against fire, useless against everything else. Presium Capsule, honestly, like this is something that was driving towards a theme before I switched to making the decks based on the books. So again, this is just kind of fallen out of the theme. You might see this card again in the future. Water Turret, water-based, getting rid of. Water Spout, water-based, getting rid of. Unstable Destruction, again, based on the previous theme, which I'm also getting rid of. And Hydro Generator, water-based, getting rid of. Now for the new cards that are replacing them, this is the fun bit. Adjustable Nozzle, so this allows you to have fire or water attack, so it's based on your own deck, not the opponent hitting you, to use the attack again. You've got Corrosion Tank. This again augments your own ability. This is really helpful for Nathan's cards. I don't know if this is going to stay. This is the one card I'm adding that I've got a little bit of a question over, but it is useful, so we'll continue on. E-Emulator. So Elemental was just, you can see at the top, that's just too big to type in, so it just gets abbreviated to E. This adds a ton of versatility to whatever you've got in play. I love this. So it augments fire, water, and ice attacks in different ways, so you can change things. And if you combine it with another card, Elemental Converter, here it is, you can change the element of it. So if you have both of these cards on the same card, you pick and choose what you're trying to do, which is just awesome. So yeah, this does have wet tokens, which are redundant in this edition, but will be useful in future editions. So it doesn't really matter, and you're getting the bonus for fire and ice anyway. And of course, this also has extra elements for future possibilities as well. Crash. Basically just sacrificing a bot to crash into something. When you take into account the high HP values of some of Monica's cards, this card is hilarious. It's really funny. And powerful. Cryofluid Capsules is very much based on the Stasis Shield Bank. Basically, it freezes things when it's attacked. But it also has freeze tokens on your own card, but some cards also benefit from that. So there's a lot of different ways to play with this card. It's quite fun. Energy Siphoner. All of its attacks deal less, but you're gaining more resource tokens. So this gives you an option to gain more resource tokens, which is something the mechanical decks can struggle with, but it also makes a target. But his first ability here does augment attacks, which means that Nathan still gets his passive ability with this card in play, which is quite a nice little bonus. Frost Engine. This one's pretty intense. Freezing cards and smashing them pretty much with enough ice. Pretty straightforwards. Elemental Converter I just covered to combine with the other card. Flank. So this is a reaction card. Play this card when your champion or a construct you control is targeted by an attack, and you have an untargeted construct in play. Attack the attacking card. So it's basically, yeah, an intercepting attack. Heat panels. So this is good. This matches up with a lot of the fire damage that comes in Nathan's deck. So for every 3 fire damage, the attached construct deals and or receives in a single turn, add 1 resource token to your resource pool. This is pretty cool. It's a very efficient way to keep up with tokens. Guided attack, pretty straightforward. Ignore a block or dodge. So basically taking control of the construct and steering it into the enemy. Pet automobile. This is basically a car, right? Straight up. This is pretty cool. It's based on something in the books. So it deploys other constructs and they can attack immediately. It's pretty good. High HP threat. So yeah, this should be pretty awesome. We've already had a lot of fun with this card, to be honest. Overheat Immolation. This is for Nathan. Construct with a fire attack makes 3 fire attacks, each dealing 3 damage. Then deal 3 damage to the attacking construct. So basically the thing is hot. Very, very hot. But that's a lot of damage. Pop Smoke. Basically on a construct that has a fire ability of its own or quality, is targeted by an attack. Construct dodges that attack. So it's basically a cloud of smoke that makes it difficult to hit for the instant. It's a reaction card, so it only happens once. Piercing Rod. Basically a big metal stick that's put on the front of it, and all of its superfluous damage is dealt to the original target if it's blocked. So yeah, pretty straightforward. So those are all the changes for the 3rd edition, or the 3rd update rather, of the 2nd edition of the game. I hope you've enjoyed it. I'll see you next time. Have a great day.